Ladies and gentlemen, we'll welcome you here to the 20th race of the X2 series. I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13. I won't lie, I honestly didn't think I'd end up covering this race, but circumstances have changed. So for those of you who watched the X3 race earlier today, or for those of you who checked out the Realistic League and thought you were free from my voice, well, that's not the case. I'm going to still be here for another 2 hours. Jigsaw, XRL Jigsaw, formerly known as XRL Fiend, is taking a brief step away, but he is anticipated to join the broadcast before we get too far into it. This is going to be an interesting race, to say the least. Also, broadcast might not be able to go a full length today. I will be here until the checkered flag, and I will do everything in my power to interview the race winner when the race is over. But with that said, there are limitations regarding my own personal time, so I'm not going to be able to spend a lot of time post-race talking to other people and stuff. So it'll likely only be an interview with the winner, sadly. But anyways, China, it's been an interesting race. This weekend, the entire gambit has been strategy and adaptability of strategy. A lot of other races we've seen, other tracks we've seen this season have been more focused on survivability. It's very much a matter today of having the best strategy. It seems to be the number one thing. Time penalties haven't really even been that much of an issue as well across most of the divisions we've been watching. Even when people do get time penalties, the field gets so spread out near the end of these races that kind of doesn't matter. And then you look back at like what happened at the X3 race earlier, everyone in the front, none of them had time penalties. And then you look at the realistic race last night, everyone who was at the front, it didn't matter because they had nice adaptable strategies, were able to react when rain came. So while they had time penalties, they were so far ahead from people who didn't, it didn't matter. So it doesn't seem like time penalties matter so much. It doesn't even seem like on-track battling matters so much, although there has been a lot of good on-track fighting. The number one thing that seems to matter at China has just been good strategy calls, and we're seeing people who, it really puts a lot of emphasis on Q2. And I gotta talk to one guy, Constant Jet, for the X3 race. He was not able to make it out of Q2. He said that he was happy about that because it gave him more freedom when it came to the strategy in the race. He came home and got points. So strategy seems to be the number one dominant thing regarding today's race here at China that I think we should be looking forward to. At the front, on the track right now is XRL Edgar. Him and the Loner Cheater are the first two people to get onto the circuit, although I see Herbago91 beginning to come out on track. Herbago trying to put a bad accident he had in X3 behind him and put together a good run in X2 as a reserve driver. In the championship fight, things continue to change. Find Waldo, who had dominated most of the season, has now lost the points lead to XRL Matrix. And I'll talk more about that later. But the number one thing I've got to see the Haas drivers talk to themselves over the week, they want to minimize the amount of fighting between themselves so they can lock up the manufacturers championship for the Haas team. Then the two of them will start fighting in earnest for the title. So things could still go interesting there. As we're seeing about two-fifths of the field are out on track now, but I think rain might be falling shortly here. It is a relatively dark sky, and if we get rain in Q1, that could definitely upset stuff, because that would mean drivers who are already out on track right now, like XRL Edgar or like the Lone Retreat, they would have a significant advantage. That's the other thing. Rain has been a big factor in the races recently. In X3, there was rain in Q3, so basically meant that everyone realistically only had one chance to put a lap in. Then in the Realistic League event, there was rain early on in X2, and then there was, there was rain early on in Q2 that lasted until the early part of Q3, only for the track to dry out at the very end of Q3, then everyone to go out for a crazy mad dash at the very end. And then, like I said, in the X3 race, we had rain in the final round pole qualifying. So yeah, rain in this event would have a serious knock-on effect for this race. Apparently, word is that there may be risk of rain coming later on in this race. No guarantee, but that seems to be a possibility here. As we check out the Lone Retreat in the middle of his lap. So like I said, about half the field out on circuit right now in the middle of Flyers. Rain being a potential issue. All right, and coming in the party now is XRL Jigsaw, also known as XRL Fiend. Fiend, you've been the number one face of X2 this season without a doubt. You have some experience here at China, obviously. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and pass the question to you that I pass all the time. what do you think is the ideal tire strategy for today's race?
Oh, good. Yeah, X2, going to be an interesting race. So, strategy will be, what will the strategy be? It'll be probably something along the lines of medium hard or medium soft. We don't want to be starting, we don't want to be starting the hards here, otherwise, because they don't last too long, they only last about 5 laps and then in the dirt, so we want to be starting on tyres that are going to last a little bit longer.
Make a very good point. So yeah, we saw in the X3 race, the guy who's the fastest in X2, that was Boothie 116. They were really confident with that pace, but it didn't matter because they started on soft tires and it was just a conga line of humiliation for him the rest of that event that led to a early DNF. As we look at the timesheets right now, at the top is Fizzy 1258. Now Ozda goes to the top with a 132.629.
Good lap from Asda, innit? We've seen the last few weeks that he's capable of putting in the laps, and if he keeps it clean in the race, getting a decent result.
Mm-hmm. And it's great news for Ozda. Ozda was one of the contenders for the X3 Championship last season. Performance was good enough that was decided that he should move up to X2. Really rough start for this season in X2 for him. He ended up stopping racing altogether for about a 2-month period because it was just eating him apart. He finally came back, and he's finally delivering results in both X2 and Realistic, the other series that he takes part in. So, yeah, it's been wonderful seeing him return to the form that I saw him have back in X3.
It's great to see, isn't it? Great to see with the form. Mm-hmm.
And not to mention, Ozda's one of the younger guys here, but he's almost a veteran as well. Oh, someone's gone off. Who is that?
Franz W31 taking a spin. Breaking the Fly Emirates board. What we'd love to see.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't really want that Renault engine to be flying anywhere on the Emirates chart, I guess.
I guess not.
Alright.
Oh, you got to be careful.
The Alpine team trying to... looks like there's just enough room. He'll be able to get going.
Yeah, he's alright now. He's fine.
Alright, well, looking elsewhere on the circuit, XRL Zola is in the middle of a lap right now. Zola, I'm just going to go ahead and say Zola absolutely breaks his bloody rear end trying to do the best he can for the series. I talk about Zola a lot, and sometimes I will even harp on him about, having poor qualifying runs, but just to put things in perspective, Zola is one of the main admins for the entire XRL series. He usually takes part in some way or another in Dev. He takes part in the Realistic League. He takes part in X1 pretty often. And he takes part in X2. While he's doing that, he's also balancing, making sure that all the penalties are right. He makes sure all the point strategies are right. All the point boards are right. He gets people signed in for the broadcast. I'm just going to go ahead and say Zola is kind of like the silent, unsung hero for the XRL series. There are rumors, nothing guaranteed, there are rumors that this might be Zola's last season driving for XRL, and he may go to administrative-only role going into the next season. So, but again, that is a rumor, and I cannot guarantee that, because we've also heard other rumors before that, end up not going anywhere. But if that happens, I do want to go ahead and say, while he is still on the track, we appreciate everything that you do, Zola. Even if some people think that your name actually is Michael Massey, I really do appreciate everything you do, and we look forward to seeing you continue your time with XRL regardless of whatever it may be going forward.
Oh, 100%. He may not support Chelsea, even though his name may suggest it, but he's a lot for the league, so yeah, hopefully he doesn't stop racing, but if he does, then so be it. Unfortunately.
All right.
Anyway. What's happening?
So, looks like the Ferrari of XRL Pelli has had an issue there coming out of turn 2. He's come almost to a dead stop at the top of the track. He is starting to move underway now, but very interesting scenario. His teammate Edgar, 4th on the timesheets right now, 132.769. It's kind of a shame that the start of the season didn't go better for the Ferrari camp, because they've honestly both drivers have been putting together some decent runs over the last few weeks. Honestly, I think that they could get that team to maybe a third, maybe even, if they get real lucky, maybe even second in the Manufacturers Championship. But, you know, bad luck early on in the season has kind of really sabotaged that chance for either of them to fight for a title in either drivers or manufacturers.
Oh yeah, I mean, like you say, if they can put up some decent results, then yeah, they can definitely get a decent position, can't they?
Well, and speaking of titles, there are 2 title fights to take note of. One of them trying to get locked up nice and early on in the Haas camp. I gotta look. I didn't talk directly with them, but I gotta see both Matrix and Waldo talking in the Discord. The plan in the Haas team, now that the second Mercedes driver has retired from XRL racing in general, it's now a 2-man fight for the championship. They both seem to agree that the best way to go forward for them, stop fighting between each other, lock up the Manufacturers Championship first, then they're going to go ham on each other. So that'll be interesting to see, to say the least. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, be silent, and right on board for a 4-lap with title contender Find Waldo here around China in Q1. So at the top are the Haas boys, Find Waldo with a 131.777 at the top, and Matrix right behind with a 131.794. So no one else has broken the 132 barrier thus far in the session.
Yeah, the Haas boys are doing a Mercedes of 2014. Been a lot quicker than everyone else so far, but it is only Q1, so
it's true. And again, rain could be an issue. Word is that there may be a risk of rain falling late in the race here, but we've not heard anything about rain qualifying. That's anticipated to be dry to the end. But I'm looking at the circuit right now. 15 drivers have already set their lap times. And I just want to go ahead and say this. Lowe and Fizzy already decided to retire, so they feel very confident in their lap times. So I think Lowe is fine, but Fizzy might be on the edge of acceptability.
Fizzy, you'll probably get through with the 32.7. I mean, currently in P9, isn't he? I mean, 5 minutes to go. He's in a strong position. Strong enough position, anyway.
Mr. Shmee is out on circuit right now. He is the driver on the bubble with a 34.378. He just set a faster Sector 2, and he's around! He's around no. Coming into Sector 3.
Oh, dear.
And just behind him on the circuit is his teammate for today's race, Dave Ewart. If Shmee can catch up to his teammate, he might be able to get a draft off of him on the following lap. But both Red Bulls trying to get in. And then there's also the Mercedes of XRL Snake and Harry, who won the X3 race earlier. So
did you? Could have took Stone
trying
Shuffle,
to-
didn't he, on the final lap?
Yeah. An outstanding pass. Yeah, it was off the basis of having better tires, but still he held it along the outside, and both of them got talked to each other briefly in the broadcast booth afterwards, and they were just lavishing praise on each other for keeping, you know, a proper amount of racing room going through it. And Harry, very good decision. And that was the thing. When you first jumped in, you talked about starting on the mediums or hards seemed to be the best way to go. Harry's one of those drivers. He started the race on the hard tire compound.
Yeah.
And it worked out very well for him near the end because he was in a good place track position-wise, and he could afford to pit late, throw on alternate tires, softs in that case, and not, you know, lose a lot of time. So, yeah, absolutely. The tire strategy to be on the hard tires to start the race definitely seems to work out.
Yeah, definitely. It does, doesn't it?
Well, out on the circuit right now, the battle is underway between Shmee, Dave Ewart, Snake, and Harry. Shmee came into the pits after spinning on his first attempt. He has not come back onto the circuit. I don't think a 34.378 is going to be good enough to guarantee him in unless Dave, Snake, and Harry all bungle their attempts.
I don't think all three of them will.
Yeah, speaking of which, Dave is flying down the back straightaway right now. Rear wing finally slams shut going into the braking zone. So there's 2 more corners for Dave to try and get into the next round.
Let's see what he can do then. Goes up into 13.
133.194. Okay, so
too
that
bad.
squeezes Shmee out. Now it's Torpedo with a 33.743 who's on the bubble. But Torpedo's already reacted. He's in the middle of an outlap right now. Actually, he's coming out of the final quarter, about to get at it. So he's going to have a chance for about 2 laps here. Snake finally crosses the line, 33.249. So that puts him on the bubble and squeezes Torpedo out. Harry is in Sector 2 right now, and he's not yet set a time in the session.
Yeah, he's on an outlap, isn't he?
Watching Torpedo as he's navigating his way out of Sector 1 and now comes into Sector 2, goes into the first of the 2 hairpins you have on this circuit. Farther up the road, though, Snake is leading his teammate Ozda on track, so Snake might actually be in position to give Ozda a draft down the straight, and Ozda spins! And Ozda's off circuit all on his own back there.
Dear. At least he's not DNF'd. Crashed out.
Yeah, no damage to the car as far as we can see.
That's good.
But, oh, but someone else, that's Zola. Zola's gone off as well.
Oh dear. Edgar's just gone into 3rd place. Oh, and who's that now? You got a flag.
Harry's backing off there, coming to the final corner, so I'm guessing he really underfueled that car to try and get the best lap he can. With 45 seconds left on the clock, it's going to be the only lap he's going to get a chance to turn. Shmee already out of Sector 1. He's up by 0.03. That's not even going to be close to enough to improving. Here comes Torpedo across the line. Is he in?
Can he do?
Well, he improves by 0.13, but that's not enough to get him over Snake. It does have time for 1 more lap.
But
Snake, low on fuel, will not be able to go faster.
But Torpedo's gone very, very wide into the first corner, so he's probably out.
That's it for him.
Unfortunately.
Shmee is up by 0.4 at the end of Sector 2 right now. And there is still Harry as well, who is also in Sector 2. So the 2 of them looking to squeeze Snake and Dave Ewart out of Q2 here. Red Bull opens up the rear wing, flying down that back straightaway.
Harry with a purple Sector 2, so at least a personal best for him.
Now coming out of the final corner is Mr. Shmee in the Red Bull Honda.
What can he do?
Not enough. 33.545. So the focus all goes to Harry. Can Harry squeeze Snake out of the next round of qualifying?
Let's find out.
Oh, there's a Mercedes off.
Oh, Harry.
Yes, Harry is in. And Ozda had a spin coming onto the back straightaway there. Now, Ozda's already has a lap in, so I'm kind of curious why he decided to go again. But regardless, it's not going to matter. Snake is out. And Harry is in with a 32.373. So, good decision on him to wait to just maximize one set of tires. He'll be in a good position going into the next round, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, he will be, won't he? Snake unfortunately went into low fuel mode in the final, before the final corner, and Torpedo was invalidated, hasn't he? So, yeah.
At the top of the timesheets, two Haas's. 131.777 and 31.794 for Fine Waldo and Matrix.
Good stuff. Very close in it at the top between those two.
Alright, and there's the end result. The drivers who do not advance, the three of them who do not advance, Torpedo, Mr. Shmee, and Snake. The ones who do advance, though, Davey Wart in the Red Bull, Herbago in the McLaren, Fizzy 1258 in the Alfa Romeo, Jabastan in the AlphaTauri, Zola in the Aston Martin, Ozda in the Mercedes, Pelli in the Ferrari, Franz W31 in the Alpine, XRL Lowe in the Alfa Romeo, Harry 5902 in the Alpine, the other Alpine that is, the Lone Retreat in the Williams, Mr. Neon in the Aston Martin, XRL Edgar in the Ferrari, XRL Matrix in the Haas, and Fine Waldo in the other Haas.
Yeah, we're saying goodbye to Torpedo, Mr. Shmee, and Snake. Dave getting lucky to get through to Q2 in 15th.
And now this is the point where the top 10 fastest drivers in Q2 decide the tires that they want to start the race on. I would not be surprised if we see everybody on track trying to turn their laps on mediums right off the bat here. Also, I am going to say this because I don't think you were in the booth when I said this. I will be able to cover this race to the end, and I can do the interview with the winner, but like I'm going to have to really be cutting it short at the end. So.
Oh, that's fine. Don't worry.
All right, then.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, no issues. So, it is Q2. And the first driver out is probably XRL Low. In fact, it is XRL Low, closely followed by a Williams of the Lone Retreat. Low on soft tyres, surprisingly.
Very interesting decision, to say the least.
The other two drivers out on track are on mediums.
Yeah, Edgar on circuit. No other movement in the pit lane yet, as far as I can tell. Apparently only 5 drivers have mediums equipped on their cars right now, so...
Interesting. Very interesting. And McLaren's just coming out of the pits. Through Bargo, he's fitted soft as well, actually. And the Aston Martin of not Zola, of Mr. Neon on soft. A lot of drivers are choosing softs, and that really confuses me.
It may be a case that a lot of them haven't Edgar's invalidated his lap, but a lot of them might think that track position is more important than tire choice. But again, every race we've had this weekend, we've not had a whole lot of full course yellows. And the field's not been bunched up a lot, so obviously it would be better to have, a good strategy than track position. Track position usually means more if the field keeps getting bunched back up, and that's not been the case this week.
Now, there hasn't been many safety cars, is there? Has there, sorry. Lowe has just started his lap, and his teammate is a little bit ahead as well. So maybe we could see some shenanigans between those two. It's unfortunate we have not been paying much attention to XRL this weekend. What have you seen this weekend that you know, strategy-wise and like race-wise, that
It seems to me, I'm gonna be honest. I think honestly, you could go again. Now I do want to say XRL and X3 is normally is a different kind of breed of drivers to X2, but it seems to me like track position at the start of the race really doesn't matter a lot. The most important things is just going to be starting on medium, or if you can, start on hard tires. Avoid accidents in the first 2 laps. As long as you don't get caught in someone else's mess, you're home free to almost a top 5 finish guaranteed. Even with a bad late race yellow coming, you would have a better option available to you with tire life. Now the counterpoint to that though is that we're gonna have rain at the end, but even then, again, get on hard rubber that you can stay on until the rain falls, and you have the entire race in your favor. I would honestly be very much willing to not start top 10 for this event.
Yeah, you'd rather start P11 than...
I'd be fine starting as far back as P15. That's where Harry started. So, yeah, I think anywhere 11th to 15th, as long as you can start the race on white, hard-walled tires, I think you're fine. Doubly the fact, we see a lot of people right now out there on soft tires at the moment. They're all these people starting on softs, assuming that they know there's going to be rain at the end. Some of them may not be aware of it, but assuming there's still going to be rain at the end that you have to pit for, and Herbago has had a spin coming into Sector 3. But assuming that even though they know, they'll have to make an extra pit stop. They're going to have to get off the soft tires somewhere in the first 10, 11 laps of the event, throw on mediums or throw on hards, and then pit again when rain comes later. And yet there are so many people out there who have still attempted to turn laps on softs. Again, this is one of the few times where I would very much be willing to give away track position and just bet on having a better strategy getting me forward in the event.
Yeah, I mean, strategy comes into it. Oh, wait a minute, that's Asda having a spin.
And that's 2 spins now for the Mercedes driver.
Be careful.
He looks like he's kind of stuck in an awkward part because there's not a whole lot of runoff there. But he was stationed in one spot for long enough that maybe the tires would have cooled down naturally. Only bad news for Asda, it was in the middle of an actual flying lap for him.
Yeah, and that'll put more wear on his tyres, won't it? So, at the start of a race, if he does start on those, if he gets into the top 10 and he does start on those tyres, they'll be way more worn than what they should have been.
Alright, XRL Pelly in the second Ferrari is in the middle of a lap right now, buzzing through Sector 2. So he's going to try and be one of the next drivers to cross the line. But right now, both Haas's are on outlaps. I'm trying to see who else is going to try and cross the line before Pelly does, if anyone. I think that's it. I think Pelly's going to be... okay, I was wrong. But it looks like Pelly's going to try and be the 7th driver to set a lap time in the session. He is on the medium tires. Here's something else interesting. If you look at the 4th, 5th, and 6th fastest time thus far, all set on softs. Now, Herbago had a spin, so it's not a very competitive lap from Herbago. But a very interesting scenario where medium tires right now seem to be faster than the softs. Now, part of that might be because, we have some relatively thick cloud cover. The track temperature is not very warm. And typically, that is a better scenario for drivers on medium tires. Not always, but that happens quite a bit. Here are Pelly now goes for 33.644. Herbago's now improved, but even with an improved time by Herbago, he's still not up to Pelly's time.
Still P5 and A. Oh, who's that? Cut off. Oh, no, not cut off. Just let him pass.
It looks like that was the Alpine of Harry.
Yeah, just letting Bulldo past.
Davey Wart in the Red Bull camp. He's trying to get in now as well. Franz and Fizzy both on outlaps. Everyone else is in the middle of a flyer, or at least in the middle of an attempt at a flyer.
Yeah, next across the line will be Zola, and then it'll be Final Waldo. And then Matrix.
I would not be surprised at all to see the 2 Haas drivers easily lock themselves 1 and 2 again. Both of them have absolutely outstandingly separated their pace from the rest of the field over the last several months. All right, Zola is in with a 34.973. Here comes the Haas drivers now.
Only P3 for Waldo.
I would have expected better. Here comes Matrix now coming across the line, and after that will be Ozda.
Oh,
Matrix 32.640. Now Ozda's coming across the line. 33.5. So medium tires seem to just simply be faster irregardless.
Next across the line will be Jebus John on mediums as well. Let's see what he can do.
Pops up in the DRS and will cross the line with a 33.758. That's good enough for 10th. So he is on the bubble with Lowe and Zola on the outside looking in. Davey Watson validated the lap he was in the middle of. Franz is in the middle of the lap. He had a purple sector 2.
He's on soft tyres. Expect him to be up there. Top 3 at least.
And then also going through sector 2 right now is Fizzy 1258. So he's trying to get a lap in. Fizzy on mediums.
And here comes Franz. There we go. 31.
First time we've seen a soft tire time at the top of the sheets with a 31.6. I cannot point to that though. This may be the same hole that Boothie found himself in for the X3 race. Is he sacrificing potential track position in a is he sacrificing good strategy for track position? That becomes a new question now. Fizzy's invalidated his lap, so the focus goes to Dave once more. Also, Jabez John is on a flyer right now. Right now, John's time is a 33.758.
Oh, Dave.
He
Wobble.
It's still legal.
He might have lost a little bit of time there. Jabez John
And
goes
Jabez John aborts his attempt.
to Dave then. Up to the final corner.
To the line. 33.976, that's not good enough.
It gets him into 12th, but how much time did he lose from that little mistake in sector 3?
Right now I'm looking at the best the tires that were used to set the best times across the entire top 10. The only exceptions are Herbago and Franz. Everyone else has done it on medium tires. Fizzy is going to be in a good position because his teammate Lowe is just ahead of him. So Fizzy might get a decent run of DRS off of his teammate down the back straightaway here.
Looking for the turn. Let's see how well they can do it.
Ooh, this is really good for Fizzy. He's right underneath his teammate.
He's weaving a bit though. This is wheel or something, but he was
And now
a little.
Fizzy is going to be ahead of Lowe. So Fizzy might be able to give a draft to his teammate on Lowe's next lap. No, Lowe comes
pits. And Fizzy goes
Fizzy
sixth.
is in. So now Herbago is the driver on the bubble with a 33.720. They still have softs equipped on that car. Pelly has gone back onto the circuit. He wants to improve on his time. Mr. Neon is out on track. Dave Ewart is still out on the circuit, but in Dave's case, he is very low on fuel, and he's backed way off. So I think for Dave, he's come to the realization there's no way for him to turn this around.
Yeah, he's gone into the pits, as Dave. It'll be at least P13. I don't actually know how long's left in this session. It's a yellow flag at the minute. But if he does have time, he can always come back out and set another time. If there's time left in the session, of course, which there may not be.
It's hard to tell because the Alfa Romeo of Fizzy is going so slow due to fuel issues. There we are, 2 minutes and 34 seconds left. There's not a lot of time to get back onto the circuit. Fine Waldo's crossed the line, so Fine Waldo wants to go faster, apparently, on the set of tires that he has. Oh, and Fine Waldo's out there on softs, actually. I didn't realize that. A bunch of drivers have gotten rid of their mediums and have gone to softs.
Only go on to softs. I don't think it's wise to do that.
Herbago is up by over a third of a second right now, coming to the line.
Was P10 is now P4.
Very nicely done, but now we're seeing time starting to fall across the board. Pelly alone is up by 7/10 at the end of Sector 2.
Zola on softs.
Has Herbago just crashed?
Herbago has just crashed, yes.
But his time is still being recorded.
Oh. Oh yeah, because he set his time and then he crashed on like the first sector.
Either that or maybe he disconnected. That might have happened as well, because normally when you crash out in Q1 or Q2, your time gets bumped down out of the top 10. But maybe it was because maybe he got disconnected. All right, Franz now is at the top with a 31.641. So yeah, all of a sudden, no one seems to want to be on medium tires. Even Matrix, who had the fastest time earlier, he's gone out on softs.
Yeah, and Waldo goes quickest. May have been a good idea actually to go on soft in the end for him. Was sitting in P8 before doing that lap.
Yeah, but again, I would have rather had the good strategy than the track position. But of course, I'm up here in the booth, and every time I've tried to be down there, it's ended very badly, so...
Matrix.
30 seconds left in the session.
Okay.
Lowe come across the line, so he's going to get one chance at this. Lowe is still on the medium tires.
All it takes is one person to go on soft and everyone else joins in.
Well, Harry retired early. He's now out. Herbago retired / crashed. He's now on 8th, and there's still a risk that he might get out. Time's up. Fizzy's not going to be able to go faster, so Ozda trying to bump Fizzy out, as is Jabez Dom comes into the pit, so he's not going to go faster. And Lowe is on track. Lowe is actually down on time at the end of Sector 1, so I don't think Lowe's going to advance. The question is just going to be, does Ozda have what it takes to squeeze Fizzy out?
Let's see.
If Ozda does squeeze Fizzy out, then that means it would be Edgar, Matrix, and the Lone Retreat. They'll be the only drivers to be on medium tires to start the race, assuming that Matrix doesn't abort the lap that he's on. I mean, if Matrix doesn't abort and he keeps pushing on softs, then that would go away for him as well.
Yeah, of course, then he'd be on... Although... Just be careful of the car in front, actually, there, Mr. Neon. He's going to set the time. Didn't need to, but it proves the point.
Haas's go back to the top. So right now, as it stands now, Lone Retreat is going to be the only driver in the top 10 starting on the medium tires. That might work out well for him, honestly.
Lowe went slightly quicker in the end, so goes up to P13. Asda went quicker than he did before, up to P4, pushing Fizzy into the bottom 5.
And with that in mind, the qualifying session is over. Herbago just barely timed it right. He will be into the next round of qualifying. But again, I think the Lone Retreat is in the best scenario because he's going to be starting this race on medium rubber. So, and that set of medium tires he used doesn't have a whole lot of wear on it either. So.
And so there we are. XRL Matrix quickest with a 131.569. Second place, less than a tenth behind, is Fine Waldo in the other Haas. Franz W31 in third. Asda in fourth. And the Mercedes. Neon fifth. Edgar sixth. Pelly seventh. Lone Retreat eighth. Zola makes it to Q3 in P9. And Rubago from X3 reserving in X2. has made it to Q3 in 10th. Unfortunately, we will be saying goodbye to Fizzy in 11th, Harry in 12th, Lowe in 13th, Jeffers John in 14th, and Dave Ewart in 15th place.
All right, now we're prepared to get underway for pole position qualifying here. For what I'm seeing, looking at the Discord, apparently Matrix's time that he set here is equal to the time he set while reserving for the X1 race earlier today. So I think Matrix needs to do everything he can to try and wrap up this championship, because with that kind of pace, even if he doesn't win the title this season in X2, I think it's an automatic move up to X1 for him next season.
Yeah, I think if he wins the title, then there's every chance he could go up to X1. Even if he finishes second, I think he'll be going up to X1 at some point.
Yeah, I think both of our Haas drivers here will move up to X1. Kind of a shame, because that means I will not get to see him anymore. As some of you know, it's Kinsey Retro, who I think is the best broadcaster in XRL, who covers X1, rightfully so. And I cover X3, which takes place at the same time. So I will not get a chance to watch Matrix race or Waldo race anymore at that point, unless they're in the realistic races. So right now, the Lone Retreat is setting himself up to be the first driver across the line, but there's not a big hustle to get out onto the circuit. Matrix, Herbago, well, I say that as Herbago's finally come out, but Matrix, Edgar, and Franz all still in pit lane, so...
Yeah, Lone Retreat will be the first to start his lap. Let's see what he can do in soft tyres.
Interesting enough, Zola... One second. Okay, never mind. For a moment, it said that Zola had mediums on, but he's on softs. Everyone's naturally going to use softs in this session. There's absolutely no advantage whatsoever in using a different set of tires. Unless you literally have burned through all of them in the first two sessions of qualifying, in which case, what's wrong with you? Oh no, it loans around!
Oh no.
And in Sector 2, the Lone Retreat gets a little bit too aggressive pushing. He goes around. So, although he's still in a legal lap, for all intents and purposes, it now goes to find Waldo to be the first driver to try and set a time here.
Yeah, Lone Retreat's lap, even though it's legal, it won't be fast at all. Good enough for
And now, if they
Q3.
underfueled that car enough, though, that might be a small benefit, because if that car is underfueled, he could go ahead, come into pit lane right away, and when he comes back out, there may not be very many cars on the track.
Maybe not.
Small
no.
benefits.
Yeah, gotta give and take, haven't you? But Waldo then on the main straight, opening DRS.
201 miles an hour, his fastest speed at the end of that straightaway.
A little bit wide on the final corner.
Doesn't matter, he still gets the lap in, 31.8. So the Haas drivers repeatedly keeping it in the 31 range. Herbago has invalidated on his lap, so no bueno for him. Ozda crosses the line. Now he finally breaks into the 131s with a 31.986.
Yeah, can Neon break
Now-
into it?
Negative.
Unfortunately not. Can Pelly break into the 131s? I'm surprised he did. I'd expect him to. He does at 131.8.
He does. And now it's time for Zola to cross the line. Zola's not great in qualifying. but still a Q3 appearance is a Q3 appearance. Not a good run though, 33.881 for Zola. Franz now beginning his lap, and the focus now goes to Herbago, although he, like I said, he invalidated this lap, so I guess the focus actually still stays on Franz in the Alpine.
Yeah, unless they're doing unless one of the 5 drivers who've set a lap are doing another run, then yes.
Matrix is now coming out of pit lane, and it looks like it's going to be clean track ahead for him. And now Edgar is doing the same, as is the Lone Retreat. Lone Retreat going to have to deal with some traffic, it seems, from Edgar, as Herbago now flies past for his lap. .5 for Franz out of the end of Sector 2. Oh, Ozda is going for another lap, and Ozda actually just improved up by 1,000th of a second now. He's over Pelly.
Oh, nice. Oh, Franz, little mistake.
It's still legal.
He's slowed down quite a bit now. And he's slowing down a lot more.
Yeah, I think he's backing up, going to recharge the ERS and go for another flyer. Hopefully he has enough fuel to do so. So the focus now goes back to Herbago. Again, Herbago invalidated, though.
Franz goes into the pits. Matrix is about to start his lap. Herbago invalid. Retreat, Edgar on out laps. And it's fine, Waldo, who probably won't be on a lap now.
We cracked out the first 5 times right away, but since then, not very many other laps.
No, not many else there, and Waldo's just spun.
Well, the good news for Waldo is that he's on a cooldown lap, so it shouldn't matter too much as long as that car's not... But if you make it a Q3, even if you total, the best time you have will be recorded. All right, Lone Retreat crosses the line, as does Edgar, so they're both in the middle of laps right now. Matrix, purple Sector 1. Again, it is his first time in this session, so of course every sector is going to be purple for him. And Waldo spins again in Sector 3 now. And he's low on fuel as well, so yeah, Waldo better hope that Matrix doesn't have a great time, because otherwise Waldo might lose. Ah, there it is, invalidated.
Yeah, it's invalidated.
So the focus now goes to the Lone Retreat, and just ahead of him, just behind him, XRL Edgar. Is the gap between these two enough that Edgar doesn't have to worry about aerodynamic weight? And I'm also seeing movement in the Aston Martin camp on pit lane. One of those drivers are coming back out into the circuit. Looks like it's going to be Zola. So Zola obviously thinks that 33 is not a respectable time. He wants to go faster. Onto the back straightaway now for both Edgar and the Lone Retreat. Edgar actually getting a very small draft down the straightaway off of the Alpine. And both Haas drivers in pits now, so Matrix did not have enough fuel to go for another run at it. So for Matrix, it's going to be very close. All right, here comes Lone Retreat and Edgar across the line. The Alpine will set a time 1:31.542.
Wow.
Edgar 1:31.757. So the two of them demolish the times that have been set before.
Wow, what a time from Lone Retreat. 3/10 quicker than Fine Waldo, who was first originally when he crossed the line, but now in third because of Edgar. Good stuff.
Now the focus goes to Franz, Zola, and Herbago. Franz coming to the line, about to get a lap going here. There is 3 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Or as they used to say, it's Austin 3:16 left on the clock for Franz.
Very clever.
Now, I figured you'd appreciate that.
Definitely. That's a good wrestling pun. Let's see. Lone Retreat on another lap, or is he on an in lap? I'd be on an in lap. He's only got 0.2 laps of fuel. Edgar 1.4 laps. of fuel.
Herbago! Incident coming out of the final corner, and
dear.
that was going to be the start of his flyer. So another lap for Herbago basically made invalid. The good news is Herbago will have time to get around and get another lap in. The bad news, we don't know if he has fuel for another lap. Pelly coming back out onto the circuit now, as is Ozda. Herbago's going to move over to let those drivers by. But again, Herbago can't afford to give up too much time. The focus still on France, who has come onto the back straightaway once more.
Franz, can he set a lap time?
201 miles an hour for Franz at the end of the back straightaway, so that's comparable to what we were seeing with Fine Waldo.
Oh, just cuts
Oh,
the
he
check a bit too
invalidates!
much.
Ah! And the worst part is that was out of the last corner, so it's going to invalidate his following lap. There's only 1 minute and 37 seconds left. He's already low on fuel. For Franz, I hate to say it, that's it. He's not going to set a time.
Unfortunately for Franz, qualifying is done for him. Matrix on an outlap. Herbago has the fuel to do another lap and the time to get round, so he'll have a lap in the bag. Zola is just coming around the final corner now.
Will he improve across the line for Zola?
Yeah, he'll
He
improve.
improves by a bit over half a second, but he's still stuck in the 33 range.
Edgar retires.
Matrix in the middle of his last flyer. Herbago finally gets a time down, but 142.188 isn't going to be that competitive. Obviously, he can go faster. We know he can.
And he's got the fuel for it, so he can do another lap.
And Matrix also in the middle of a lap as well. But the next driver to cross the line, well, Franz is going to come right into the pits. This lap's invalid, so it's not possible for him to get another lap going. Even if he had the fuel, it would be very borderline if he can make it or not. So the focus goes to find Waldo. Waldo is up by 1/4 of a second at the end of Sector 2. That itself would get him over Edgar, but that would not put him ahead of Lone Retreat. So he needs to find a bunch of time here in these last 2 corners.
See if he can do it. Find about 3/10.
Cross the line for
And
Waldo.
he does.
He did it. 31.3, by far the fastest we've seen thus far. So now we look at Zola, who is on the run down to the final corners, and behind Zola is Matrix. Actually, Matrix is close enough to Zola. He may have gotten a small draft off him down the back straightaway. To the line for Zola. He improves, but again, not able to move up. Matrix to the top, 31.168. Herbago right there behind Ozda
right
on a lap, and Herbago
Ozda.
runs wide. Yeah, that was too much, but Herbago finally gets a lap, 33.4. Ozda third, 31.446. Now we see Neon coming to the line. Neon jumps up 31.679. So at the end, 7 of our 10 drivers in Q3 make it into the club, the 31 club, where before that point, only the Haas drivers had been.
Look how close those times are, though. 31-1, 31-3, 31-4, 31-5, 31-6, 31-7, 31-8. All in the top 7. Less than a second between 1st and 7th. Good stuff. Now we see it then. Confirmation then. In pole, XRL Matrix in the Haas with a 131.168. In second, Find Waldo in the other Haas with a 131.398. Asda in third in the Mercedes. The Lone Retreat in fourth in the Williams. Mr. Neon fifth in the Aston Martin. XRL Edgar sixth in the Ferrari. XRL Pelly in seventh in the other Ferrari. XRL Zola eighth in the other Aston Martin. Herbago 91 in 9th in the McLaren, and unfortunately Franz W31 was unable to set a time and will start in 10th. However, I'm going to go for a quick break, and I will be back in a minute.
All right, so now it's just a 5-minute wait until we get to the start of the race here. So real quickly, before we get into the race itself, we will go ahead and look at the championship as it stands right now. When it comes to the manufacturers' points, Alpine still at the bottom with 92 points. The Scuderia AlphaTauri outfit has 121. Alfa Romeo has 132 points. Red Bull 159 points. Aston Martin 179. Williams in 5th with 192. McLaren 4th with 226. Scuderia and Ferrari have clawed 3rd back, so they are now 3rd with 230. Mercedes is 2nd with 278. So Ferrari trying to get second in the Manufacturers' Championship. At the front, though, Haas with 342 points. An outstanding lead. If they keep it up, they may lock up Manufacturers' Championship before the end, by the time this race ends. Then you look at the Drivers' Championship. At the bottom, Fable 521 has only earned a single point. Mr. Schmee in 18th with 16. Franz, W31 with 25. RB Llama, 16th with 34. Ozda in 15th has earned 37 points. Lone Retreat in 14th, he's earned 39. Mr. Neon 713 with 43. XRL Low with 50. XRL Young with 54. Jabez John in 10th with 55 points. Fizzy 1258 9th with 59 points. XRL Torpedo is 8th with 66, which brings him into a tie with Zola, who is 7th with also 66 points. They ain't get to everyone who has 100 points or more. Pelly is 6th with 113. Edgar is 5th with 117. 4th is Smoothie 25 with 157. He is now in a direct tie with XRL Dino. However, Dino is not anticipated to come back into the series before the season ends, so if Smoothie just shows up for a race, he'll take that position. And then your championship contenders. Waldo is 2nd with 163 points. Matrix is 1st with 178 points. So a 15-point spread between your two championship contenders going into this race. As we look real quickly at the race director setup, at the front, the Lone Retreat, he's going to be starting 4th on medium tires, so this could be good for him. After the first few laps are done, he'll be on better rubber than everyone else around him. But then you drop out of the top 10 positions. Mr. Schmee and Torpedo in 17th and 18th, they're starting on mediums. Dave Ewart and XRL Snake in 15th and 16th, starting on hards. Jabez John 14th, starting on mediums. 13th, 12th, and 11th, Fizzy, Harry, and Low, all of them are starting on hards. And that is a strategy that won Harry the race in the X3 event earlier. So this could very easily work out in his favor. Just stand by right now, waiting to get underway. So now the question is, do we have a safety car early on? Because if we have a safety car early on in this race, that's going to upend everything. All the drivers in the top 10 who started on the soft tires, they're going to drop way back down the grid, and we'll have to be trying to charge their way back up through the field. So this event, this entire race could go very, very interesting. Just waiting to get underway for the race itself. Once again, a Haas lockout on the front row, but last week we saw how that went with one DNFing and one winning. Can they avoid that today? They're trying to lock up the Manufacturers' Championship. If they leave here with more than 150 points, they will have done so in the Manufacturers' hunt.
Well, that's good.
Should begin underway relatively shortly here.
Hopefully it's soon.
There we are. All right, and per usual, Jigsaw, if you see anything going on in the back of the field, don't even interrupt me by asking if I want to play a game. Just cut in and cut me right off.
I'll do my best impression for you.
All right, as we prepare to get underway here in China for the last race of this weekend. Haas, front row lockout. 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out. Away we go here at China. And right off the bat, it's a drag race between the Haas cars. But it looks like it's going to be Matrix who pulls out in front. Oh, and there's a big accident. There's Pelly. Pelly and Herbago have an accident right at the start. They both go way off the circuit. But we should be able to stay green.
Lomax contacting spins a little bit. Don't know if he got damaged. Doesn't look like he did. Herbago nearly went into the back of Torpedo there.
And the lone retreat maintained the 4th place position. He is on medium tires while everyone around him is on softs. So after the softs fall off in the first several laps, the lone retreat will be in a great position. And here's the other thing. If there's not a yellow flag in the first few laps, all these guys on soft tires will be in a horrible spot. Fine Waldo's already closed in to about half a second off of his teammate Matrix. That's a Haas 1-2 at the front. Ozda holding steady in 3rd. 4th is the lone retreat. 5th is Mr. Neon. 6th is XRL Edgar. 7th is Zola. 8th is France, but France now takes 7th from Zola. 9th is Fizzy, and Harry, the highest driver of everyone on the hards, is already up to 10th. Oh, Harry has lost 2 positions under braking going into the hairpin. So Davey, where he elected to start on the softs, he's going for track position rather than strategy. And he's already moved up to 11th now. As we see Herbago and after him Pelly both coming into the pits back there in the background. No, Pelly actually stayed out. So I guess in all that incident that Pelly had, he took no damage. But we look at the front once again. Haas 1-2, Ozda is hanging out in 3rd, and Ozda's trying to recover any chance for Mercedes to get into the manufacturer's title hunt and try to hold the Ferraris off. Not working out too well because while Ozda is running 3rd, the other Mercedes is back here in 16th right now, way off pace. Well, not way off pace, he is holding on to the back of the grid, but still, he's at the back of the grid.
Oh, David's all over the back of Harry, and he's got the run on him and overtakes him.
So soft tires absolutely mogging the crap out of the hards. Now Dave is already within 7/10 of Javis John. Oh, but he made a mistake coming in to Sector 3. That gives Harry a chance to fight back on the inside. Dave will out-drag Harry down the straight, though. Harry's gonna pop back out. He gets a little bit of a draft, pops back out. Here comes Lowe. He's faster than both of them. Where's Lowe gonna go? He's gonna make it 3 wide. Backs out at the last second.
Harry outbrakes himself into the corner, and Lowe overtakes him. And Dave goes a bit wide, but Lowe just backs out a little bit.
And now Harry is trapped there in 13th, and Lowe is on the same tire strategy as himself, so that's not gonna be good for him. Dave and Lowe still
contact.
fighting. Oh, there's contact! And Lowe's around! Right in the middle of turn 1. But everyone's going to get by without issue by the looks of it.
Lowe made contact with Dave and spun himself out. Nothing Dave could do about it. My view, anyway.
Farther up the grid, Mr. Neon holding on to the lone retreat. The top 3 have kind of opened, actually realistically it's the top 2 have opened up a gap on the rest of the field. So Matrix and Waldo in a zip code of their own once again. Waldo hanging within half a second of Matrix, and he will have DRS on his teammate going down the straight. So again, they want to lock up the Manufacturers Championship by any means necessary, but I guarantee you both of them are thinking, well, they need to do whatever they can to improve their own personal points right now, so that way once they lock up the Manufacturers, they can be in the best scenario for the last few races of the season.
Yeah, if they finish 1-2, it doesn't matter who's first and second, they'll still win it. Waldo can't get close enough on that DRS straight, but there is one coming up after this corner. He actually lost a little
Matrix
bit.
seems to have better. Yeah, Matrix seems to have a better application of the power coming onto the straights, and that's working out well enough for him. Farther back in the grid, though, the lone retreat is now beginning to close in on Ozda, but he has to worry more about Mr. Neon behind. Again, though, the lone retreat started on medium tires. Everyone else just started on softs. Their times are going to start falling off sooner rather than later. I think the lone retreat's going to have the advantage in this fight, assuming nothing bizarre happens. No yellow flags yet, and that also works in the lone retreat's favor, because he not only has the better strategy, he also has track position as well.
He does, yeah. So obviously, by the end of next lap, the soft tyres are going to start feeling a bit not very nice. Undersheet's going to be there, but he needs to be careful of Mr. Neon behind him. Before 3.5 tenths.
Ozza not having the greatest run on. Ozza just gets a time penalty. So yeah, Ozza's already seems to be struggling a bit on that set of tires. So yeah, it's going to be a little DRS train for third, but Waldo is closing in on Matrix down the back straightaway right now. 4 tenths is the gap as the DRS opens, and now Waldo starts closing in with a vengeance. He's within a third, a quarter, a fifth, a tenth, and now he backs out. He cannot do it. He's going to try and go the outside there on the hairpin, have a better application of the throttle coming into the final corner. And onto the main straight now.
Again, Matrix had the better traction on the exit. And only 2 tenths separate them. Asda with a little wobble. Behind.
And that will let Lone Retreat come to the inside, and he'll get him, but it's going to turn to the outside, going to turn 2 now. So Ozza may still be able to fight back. Mr. Neon trying to capitalize. A bit of contact between the Williams and the Mercedes, and the Lone Retreat takes third. Ooh, Ozza sends it under braking, cannot get alongside though.
And that is definitely covered now from the Lone Retreat until the next DRS zone.
I think he's going to be good even to the DRS zone. Ozza's falling way off. He's pushed those tires really hard, and now he is already starting to feel the effects of having very worn softs. Again, these drivers, a lot of drivers, need a full course yellow now, otherwise they're going to be looking in a horrible position when it comes to both strategy and track position.
And the softs are dying, and quickly as well. I guess they will have DRS.
No, nothing for a Lone Retreat. He's still 3 seconds out of the lead right now. As Matrix and Waldo are having a very reserved fight right now. Waldo's using DRS, but he's not really pushing too hard around the rest of the circuit. To me, it looks like Matrix is better getting onto the straights, and Waldo is a little bit smoother through the corners right now.
Yeah, but Waldo's got the run on Matrix here. Looks at the outside. Can he... I mean, he's going to move to the inside, but he... kind of backs out a bit. Franz has pitted.
Yeah, but the good...
Dave and Pelly as well.
So a bunch of drivers who started on the softs now having to get off, and they're going to lose a bunch of track time in the process. Zola also pitted. He has thrown on hard tires as well.
trying to get to the end on the hard.
Or at least trying to get into rain because they're still... Ozda off circuit, way off circuit, coming out of the hairpin, and he's around again, and it's right in front of the field, but no one else is close enough to hit him. But that's it. For Ozda, the tires are basically dead for now then. Dead as a doornail. Wait, is it dead as a doorknob or dead as a doornail?
Dead as a dodo.
Oh, Herbago's crashed!
It's dead as a dodo, isn't it? Oh, Asda spins again.
I have never heard dead as a dodo.
Oh,
and Lowe's crashed now!
Low and Asda.
Is that a full course yellow? Yes, that's a full course yellow. And that will change the entire outcome of the race. Ozda has crashed out as well now. So both Ozda and Lowe crash out at almost the same point of the racetrack. And this is what Matrix, Waldo, Neon, and Edgar needed to recover their races.
This works perfectly for the soft runners. So, Matrix pits. They're going to double stack, aren't they, the Haas team? So Waldo follows in. Lone Retreat pits as well. So does Neon, Edgar. Fizzy stays out.
All of these guys, so I guess everyone here is going to try and get on the same set of tires, whether they be mediums or hards, and run them until rain is believed to fall near the end of this race.
So Fizzy has stayed out. So has Jebus John. And
he's not the only one. Snake now goes into the points paying positions, so that's good news for him. And like you said, the Haas's had to double stack, so now Matrix may be fourth, but Waldo's now buried back there in seventh with the Lone Retreat and Mr. Neon ahead of him. And it's really mixed up. Some drivers on the hard, some of them on medium. Matrix has medium tires on, Waldo's going long, he has the hards on.
Depends when the rain comes. I mean, if it's in 20 laps time, then, you know, you want to be on the hard tires. If it's in more like 12 to 15 laps time, you want to be on the mediums.
Yeah. I think Javis Dom may be in the best scenario, though, because now he has track position. The drivers ahead and behind him have tires directly ahead and behind him have similar wear. I think he is in the best spot right now because he has made up a bunch of track position now.
Yeah, Snake in third has made up loads of positions as well. Fizzy going from what happened in Q1. He knocked out in was it Q1 that he got knocked out, or Q2?
Yeah, knocked out early on in qualifying. Now he's recovered into top spot.
Behind Matrix, net P1 as it stands. Has made his pit stop onto mediums, but if the rain doesn't come, he'll have to pit again. Potentially.
Yeah, it looks like neither Ozda or Lowe are interested in interviewing. They're both very angry right now looking at the Discord. So almost the entire field has caught up. Although Herbago is half a lap behind. This yellow flag really helped Herbago out, though, because he had crashed just the lap before this and was at risk of going a lap down. Now he'll be able to catch up to the back of the grid and kind of recover, and Snake is pitting now. So Snake does not want to stay on the hards. Yeah, so now Snake is throwing away all the track position and will drop all the way back to 15th. And they're throwing on mediums.
Interesting.
No one else did. So now I think this puts Davis, John, and Fizzy both in a frustrating position because now they have older tires, and Matrix is right there in third on fresh mediums. Without a doubt, I think Matrix is going to be the fastest guy on track. He's going to go right to the lead. The question, though, for Matrix is that once he's in the lead, will he be able to save those tires long enough that they'll last until the rain comes?
Well, he'll be in clean air. And that's the main thing.
Herbago's already closed back to about 26 seconds off the back of the grid, but I don't think he's going to catch the rear of the field before we go green. I do think we'll be probably going green this lap, though, so So the question is, how does Fizzy and Jabus John bunch up the field? They need to do everything they can to try and keep Matrix from getting by them quickly. And these two, they're going to be on way worse tires. They've got track position now, but with the field bunched up, they need to hope that things work in their favor and that they're good enough on defense that they don't lose a bunch of time between now and whenever the rain comes. Again, here's the other thing. If the rain doesn't come, or if the rain comes but only comes in like the last 2 laps where the track gets wet, they're going to be in a different world of hurt because they'll have to pit late and will lose a bunch of track position then as well.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will, won't they?
All right, there's the word, safety car coming this lap, and somehow Herbago did jump up to the back of the grid, so good job on his part. Boy, is Fizzy backing up the grid coming out of the hairpin.
Goodness me. Very slow, isn't it?
Very nearly just swerved into Davis John twice there. Coming out of the final corner, he's still backing the field up. And we're green, but he backed the field up a long time. It's chaos in the back of the grid now.
Isn't it? See, when you back up like that and you go so slow, it causes havoc at the back. You don't see it at the front. Franz trying to get past
we
Pelly.
did see it for Jabus John. He's lost 2 positions in just the first corner alone, and Matrix is already there on Fizzy. So all that backing up did absolutely nothing. Matrix is going to take the lead in a single sector.
Wow. Oh gosh, what's happening back here then? Jabus John and Edgar side by side.
For the lead, Fizzy is still holding on to it. He's really pushing
Waldo.
Matrix to the edge.
Fine, Waldo makes contact with the guy ahead of him.
And there's Herbago around as well. A multi-car incident in the back of the grid, and Matrix has been dumped out of the lead. Matrix falls behind Fizzy and falls behind Lone Retreat. He will recover a third, but he has lost a bunch of spots now.
5-second penalty for a severe collision.
Very chaotic restart,
me.
and now Matrix is trying to hold Lone Retreat off. Matrix is trying to close in on Fizzy as well.
Lone Retreat pulls out.
Your championship contenders out of the points.
Bomb.
Oh! Wow, what a dive! But Matrix has medium tires, so they have more grip. He'll be faster coming out of the final corner. And Matrix gets second again. But Lone Retreat's got a faster run. Again. Oh, big instant! Neon! Big exit there! Somehow that car's still alive. And that's a virtual safety car. All right, and coming into the party is XRL Azda. Azda, go ahead, include your audio. Big accident there. Looked like the tires were dead. What happened that took you out of the race?
You bang on, to be honest. I think the tyre pressures in the front were too high, so I've always had a lot of understeer. The tyres overheating quite a lot. But yeah, and then obviously I had that spin that made the rears hot as well. So yeah, it's a combination of hot tyres and traction, and then yeah, didn't have any and they were too hot, so I went into the wall and that's my race over.
It's a shame because you were the only driver out there who seems to be able to keep pace with the Haas machines. Do you think you can rebound next week?
Depends what track it is next week, but probably, yeah.
I think it's Russia.
Yeah, definitely. That's my favourite track, so I'll be helping for brothers up there.
All right, I can say right now, Azda, you have absolutely horrible taste in tracks.
What? No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Next, you're going to tell me that you think Monaco and Suzuka are bad.
I mean, Suzuka
Monaco
this
is
game
bad,
is
though.
bad. Monaco
Suzuka isn't
Monaco,
that
I like. Yeah, Suzuka isn't that bad, but it was better in the last game. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it, and thank you.
All right. Well, Edgar pounced on the restart and is already putting pressure on Matrix, so Matrix not able to make the fullest use of these tires right off the bat. Fine Waldo gets by Pelly, and here's the other thing to consider. There are 3 drivers who all have time penalties for not paying attention to the safety car. That's Dave Ewart, Zola, and Pelly. Waldo's trying to get by Pelly right now at the same time that Edgar's trying to get by Matrix. So a Haas versus Ferrari fight's going on in the field right now. But at the front, the lone retreat has caught Fizzy.
Fizzy and lone retreat, only 3/10 between them. And then Edgar 1.3 behind. So Matrix needs to get past sooner rather than later, otherwise he's going to get left behind by the two in front.
And Matrix is by Edgar for a moment, but they're side by side through Sector 2 again. This cost Matrix a position earlier. This time Edgar pulls out, but they will have DRS down the straight. So if Matrix can get within a second of the lone retreat, he'll have DRS and can use that as a defense against the Ferrari.
Need a good exit from this corner. And
yeah, he got it. I think Matrix may have DRS, so it'll be close.
Yeah, it's going to be a close call.
But the lone retreat will have DRS on Fizzy, and that should be an easy open and shut overtake. Down the straight now.
Ooh.
Lone retreat. Inside of Fizzy. Neck and neck, Williams to the point.
Still side by side. Oh, both drivers.
Ooh.
Both drivers lost it.
And that's perfect for Matrix, as Matrix now's got to try and capitalize, but he has to back out. That lets Edgar maybe close the gap back up. Edgar's not able to close the gap, it seems, so it's become a three-way fight for the lead now.
Yellow
Torpedo,
flag,
accident out of the final corner.
Andrew Bargo goes into the pit. Does not even try to slow down into the pit lane, takes a 5-second penalty and retires from the session, retiring in the pits.
Alright, so now Lone Retreat's right there behind Fizzy, but Matrix is even closer. Lone Retreat's gonna go to the outside. Matrix sees nowhere to get by. It's actually, this battle's holding up Matrix a bit. That's gonna let Edgar get by. For the lead, Lone Retreat finally gets to the front. Contact! Fizzy's off.
Fizzy in the Lone Retreat.
Oh, and there goes James Gunn. Big accident going. But the car is still in one piece. Well, mostly. And now both AlphaTauris way out of the points.
Matrix less than half a second behind Lone Retreat. Will get DRS. Can he make a move? Because Edgar's right there behind him. These three have now pulled out 2-second lead ahead of, well, it would have been top 4. Unfortunately, there was that incident with Fizzy.
Harry gets by Fizzy now, so Harry is recovering from early incidents. He's already up into 4, so he might try and do something we hardly ever see, winning 2 races at the same track in the same weekend for XRL. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying he's definitely putting himself in contention for that possibility.
Oh, and here we go then. Matrix on the inside gets past the Lone Retreat to retake the lead of this race, but goes slightly wide, leaving the door open for him to come back. And now
Edgar is there ready to capitalize. Matrix has the faster tires. The Lone Retreat's trying to play a longer game. Lone Retreat's betting on a very late rain. Matrix is betting on rain coming sooner rather than later. It looks like for now the battle is in favor of the Haas machine.
Waldo getting past Zola. For 7th place. Yellow flag. XRL Snake on the ground. Down into 11th.
I don't see any damage on his car, so he should be able to continue. Waldo, one of your championship contenders, ended up getting buried in the midfield due to double stacking shenanigans by the Haas, and he's really not recovered that many positions. He's basically where he's been this entire time. This is not what you want to see for him, because this means that would just further extend Matrix's lead in the points. Lone Retreat cannot keep... Yeah, Lone Retreat cannot keep pace with Matrix except on the straights, and even then, Edgar is faster than him. Neon, accident again in Sector 2. No damage, he'll be able to continue, but still frustration as Pelly overtakes Zola for 8th now. Lone Retreat's a little bit closer to Matrix going down the main straight, but again, that Haas that Matrix has is very, very smooth, putting the power down out of the corners. So he can afford to be slow around the rest of the track. He's just got the perfect defense. Great straightaway speed is the absolute perfect defense.
Yeah, good traction in it. If you have good traction, then they're never going to overtake you. But these top three then have got a 2.6 second lead to fourth place Harry 5902. So it's really up to these three then to decide who's going to win it. Halfway through the race already.
Fizzy has also made his election to come. He has made the decision to come in and throw on hard tires, and he'll be running that either until the end of the race or until rain. Again, we were told that rain is likely to come by the end of this event, but if it does not, Fizzy may have a slight advantage because his tires would guarantee last to the end. Dave's had an incident.
Dave spins out. Down into 11th place. And Matrix is out of DRS. Oh, sorry, the Lone Retreat is out of Matrix's DRS, over a second between them. So that leaves him open to Edgar, doesn't it?
Yeah, although Lone Retreat did get a sniffle of a draft off of the Haas going down that straight, so he should have DRS now coming out to the main straight. Can use that as a defense against the Ferrari for a little bit.
And now he's back in DRS.
But again, Matrix has fresh air and faster tires, so I think that is just going to continue to work more and more in Matrix's favor. And the same for Edgar. I think Edgar will eventually get that track position. For Lone Retreat, he's trying to play the long game. He needs to hope that works out, though. But the top three have opened up such a big gap on everyone else that even if Lone Retreat falls to third, as long as he doesn't totally fall off the gap of Edgar and Matrix, I think he'll still be in a good position to the end of this race.
Yeah, I think he will be, won't he? Franz is into the pits. And Zola got past Pelly at the beginning of the last lap. So he's up into 7th. Waldo's recovered back up to 5th place as well. 2.7, 2.8 the gap. The cars are just starting to... drivers are just starting to make gaps now.
Yeah, the only area we're really gaps at is the top three. Lone Retreat is, yes, hanging around the in the 1 second range against Matrix. And that time, Lone Retreat actually had a better run coming onto the straight than Matrix did, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't have DRS. Edgar has DRS on Lone Retreat. This is the battle for second.
There's only really one place where Matrix is losing time then, and that's like at the end of the long straight and that corner, that hairpin. Everywhere else he seems to be quicker than Lone Retreat.
Oh, Matrix, Twitch! He still has the lead, but now Lone Retreat's a little closer to the Haas than he was before. There is another fight going on, a spirited fight for 7th between Pelly and Zola. But right now, it looks like Pelly has that advantage. The main fight still continues to be for the front three positions. Yeah, the clean air means so much for Matrix going through Sector 2. And he's able to just slowly open himself into Lone Retreat through there. That and the fact that he's on medium tire really helps the Haas. And it helps the Ferrari as well. Edgar gets a time penalty running behind Lone Retreat. That's not going to help the Ferrari driver, obviously. But then the Lone Retreat is just good enough coming onto the back straightaway. He's going to be in DRS range this time and can use that as a defense against Edgar. Are you still there?
Oh yeah, I'm still sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. My mic and headset has been acting up for the day, and I just want to make sure that didn't, like, cut me out or cut the party out.
Nah, it's fine, yeah, we're still here. We're still here with the Lone Retreat, 7/10 behind Matrix and Edgar. Just behind them too. Harry now 5.3 behind the top three, so just losing time.
Fizzy got DRS run, overtook Torpedo down the straight, and then Torpedo had the air taken off the front wing under braking, ran right into the AlphaTauri. Torpedo has front wing damage and has to pit.
Franz with the fastest lap of the race.
Fresh mediums will do that for you. But at the front, Matrix has opened up more than a second gap
yellow
on Lone
flag,
Retreat.
that's Harry.
Ah.
Harry has spun.
And your X3 winner now having to dig himself out of a hole here. Well, the good news is the field is spread up quite a bit, so it looks like he's going to recover in about 9th or 10th position.
Oh, no. Yeah, he's recovered in 9th, but a little extra spin on top, and a 3rd spin to boot. Means he's going to drop down to 10th.
So the tires seem to be all but dead. No good news for him, it seems. All right, Pelly has caught Shmee, and Edgar now has Lone Retreat as Matrix has opened up nearly a second and a half on Lone Retreat. And now we see Jabez John has had a spin of his own in Sector 2, although he has already recovered. Oh, okay, so Matrix thinks that it's no good to stay out longer. So that now gives the track advantage to Lone Retreat and Edgar. This also means that Find Waldo is actually going to overtake Matrix on track.
So Matrix is hoping that the rain does not come in the end. Although saying that, it was only a 40% chance of rain. Matrix then going on to fresh medium tires.
Accident!
Retires from the session and with a virtual safety car. A full safety car.
There's not very many drivers who are going to be in a good position to take advantage of the full safety car. Mr. Neon back there in 13th will, as will the AlphaTauri 14th and 15th. But other than that, it doesn't really change anything at the front. In fact, this actually works out well for Matrix because if the leaders elect to pit, well, he moves right back up into the top spot.
Maybe, yeah. It depends what the time difference is between them. Obviously, he pitted while everyone was running under full green flag conditions. Now we're under safety car yellow flag conditions, so everyone's driving slower. Obviously, a pit stop takes the same amount of time either way.
One thing this will definitely help with Harry, who is burning those tires apart. Now he will be able to get onto alternate rubber at least. But we're going to be, going to be 10 laps to go. And there's still no sign of rain. If we're green to the end of this race, it's going to be amazing, but it's going to be interesting. But if we're not green, all right, Lone Retreat's staying out, but Edgar is coming in. What about Find Waldo? Is he coming in or staying out?
No,
Find
Waldo
staying
stays out.
Pelly in 4th.
Pelly stays out. Shmee stays out. Zola stays out. And Snake pits.
So it seems like everyone on the medium tires wants to get onto alternate rubber to the race end, but everyone on hards wants to stay on hards. I think that might be Fizzy in 10th. He might come in simply because he's not in a position to gain any track position. Well, no, Snake is pitted. He's going fast to the end of this race, so he might be able to make a good start to the end. Matrix pitted. Yeah, Matrix pitted and threw on mediums as well. This is going to be weird.
Yeah, Matrix pitted before the safety car though, so lost out to Edgar. And pitted on the safety car. Harry, Fizzy and Jebus all pit.
So for a large chunk of this race, it's been Matrix who had the advantage over Waldo. Now that's changed. Waldo is second and Lone Retreat is leading, but Matrix has fresh rubber, and it looks like it will be a 9-lap shootout to the end of this race.
That's certainly how it looks for now.
It might be an 8-lap shootout. The field's not even close to being gathered up once you get outside the top 7. So we might have an 8-lap shootout to the end of this race. So, yeah.
Come in at the end of lap 20, I think. Saying that, though, Jebus John's quite far behind. Just at the end of sector 1, while the safety car's in near the end of sector 3.
Yeah, we're not going to go green until about lap 21, so it'll be an 8-lap shootout to the end of this race. The thing is, with an 8-lap shootout, that's still long enough for another full-course safety car. Not saying it will happen, but I'm saying that it does still leave that opportunity open. All right, there we are. Franz and Snake are just about to catch the back of the grid. So then it goes to Harry, and Harry's coming out of the Sector 3 hairpin now. He's only about 15 seconds out, and you close most of your time under safety car. You get close to the front of the field on the straightaways. So.
Yeah. I mean, there's still like the two AlphaTauri drivers are 36 and 44 seconds behind respectively. Mr. Neon 30 seconds. Busy 20 seconds. Harry 14 seconds. But obviously that closes very quickly on the safety car.
Yeah, especially going through the long straights. Yeah, it looks like we're going to go green lap 21, so an 8-lap shootout. Also, is it just me, or is the sky starting to get a little bit dark out there?
It is a little bit. Even just one lap ago, that sky was blue. Now the clouds are here.
So now the question is rain possible?
Well, yeah, there was a 40% chance, wasn't there, at the start of the race, for it to come at the end, and we are nearing the end of this race.
Well,
right when the rain is due.
Back home in Kansas City, there was one broadcast channel. It was Channel 9 for ABC. Their rain forecast, anytime it said there was a 40% chance of rain was a guarantee. Now, obviously, this ain't home in Kansas City. We're in Shanghai, China, and this is a game and not real life. But if I was a betting man, I would think that rain's going to come before the end of this race. Now, the question, though, is will there be enough rain to make the track wet and necessitate a change to intermediates, or will the drivers be able to stay on the tires that they have to the end?
I don't know, but if it's anything like the old Malaysia races, or the races at Malaysia, once it starts raining, the track gets wet very quickly.
All right, how much does Lometry back up the rest of the field? Fine Waldo's been one of the fastest drivers all day, but he's not been able to make up a lot of positions on track. And behind them will be Pelly, Schmee, and Zola, also on old hard tires, and everyone from 6th on back are on much fresh.
Watching Edgar, I'm watching Matrix here to see how he reacts to the restart, see if he can make up any positions. Schmee really slow at the restart. I don't know what happened to him. He's super slow, and it's quite crazy out here. A little bit of contact between Matrix and Zola.
Waldo's lost the position to Pelly. Waldo's lost position to Pelly, lost position to Edgar. Waldo's race is falling apart now. And here comes Zola.
First drips of rain, it's starting. And Matrix just didn't brake in time and nearly dive bombs his teammate. Rain is here. Don't know how long it'll be until wet tyres or intermediate tyres are needed. But I think
if you're on the hard rubber, you decide to pit right away. If you're on the softs or the mediums, you might want to stay out a lap or two.
Matrix is all out of the back of Waldo.
Two Ferraris in 2nd and 3rd, 2 Haas's in 4th and 5th. Oh wow, the track's soaking up real quickly, mate. This is gonna be interesting. Matrix against Waldo down the back straightaway.
And side to side. The track is getting slippier every second. What's going to happen? We'll be the first to try pitting. Late braking from Matrix.
And he gets up.
Yeah, he gets the position. Mr. Neon with a 3-second time penalty. The two Ferraris look like side by side.
One pits, one did not. Pelly is going to be the first driver to jump to the intermediates. This may work out well for him, depending on how wet the track gets. Schmee accidentally coming out of the final corner, but he will be able to continue.
Where's he going? Where's he going? He's trying to get into the pits by going that way round. All right, then.
Probably wants to keep a yellow flag from coming out from crashing without a working front wing. All right,
Snake all over the back of Neon near the back.
Edgar in second, Lone Retreat leading, but I think Pelly and Torpedo may be in the catbird seat now because they will be the first two. They are the first two drivers on intermediate tires, and neither of them have time penalties. Depending on how wet this track is getting, Pelly might get into the lead.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, Matrix is all over the back of Edgar, and Harry's not too far behind, actually. Harry's back in this race up into P4 and with the front three now.
But again, you're going to have to pit. Everyone, basically from 10th on up, will have to pit, preferably this lap.
Harry looking for a move on the inside of Matrix. A bit of traction.
There they are. Top 4, top 5, top 6, top 7, top 8. I think the entire top field is going to pit.
Top 10.
That's it. So is Pelly going to be in? DRS has been turned on. The track is DRS has been turned on. I don't know how long it's going to stay on. But the question is Pelly going to be able to come in on Lone Retreat? I don't think so. It looks like the gap may be yes enough that the Lone Retreat can hold on to the lead. Yes, he will. The Lone Retreat will hold on to the lead. DRS has been turned off. Lone Retreat leads. Edgar second, Matrix third, Harry fourth, Neon fifth. Find Waldo is going to be 6th. Snake is going to be 7th. Francis 8th. Pelly will only come out 9th. And that's what happens. Pelly had that title.
Yeah, Pelly pitted a bit too early. John's retired from the session. It's a late safety car. We have a late safety car. In China, just like last week.
Hello? Hello? Come on, please tell me this will work. Alright, well, yeah, my headset and controller are killing themselves every 30 seconds now, so I have no idea how much longer I'm going to have. Snake finally is going to come in and repair the car. Gabe is gone, crashing, as he was not able to change tires in time. We're back under a full course safety car as the Lone Retreat leading Edgar and Matrix. Harry is hanging out in 4th, and for Find Waldo, the championship is now slipping from his fingers. He is back there in 6th. I thought it was 30 seconds was the limit. All right, we may be coming to the green flag this lap, either this lap or next lap, but it looks like it will be a very short sprint to the end on a soaked track. Everyone is on the same tire compounds now. It's just going to come down to who is better at controlling their car. Yeah, so we'll be going green with 3 laps to go. Whew. And with the track wet, we're not going to see those times fall at all anymore. There's the word, safety car is officially going to be coming in this lap, so. I have to wonder if maybe it's because Shmi is having trouble staying in the lobby with connection issues is the cause of that. But anyways, we're coming to the green flag. 3-lap shootout. How does the lone retreat bunch up the field this time? Alright, let's hope we don't see like what happened at the end of the X3 race where we have 3 different massive accidents. And we're off. Lone Retreat, good exit out of the final corner. He's already pulling a gap on the rest of the field. Nearly a full actually over a full second already between first and second. Matrix is right there behind Edgar. Reminder that Edgar has a time penalty, so as it stands right now, Matrix is poised to walk out here second. Harry gets right on the rear bumper of Matrix. There may have been contact. Yeah, I think Harry has damage to the front wing because now Harry's losing and hemorrhaging positions. And that's good news for Find Waldo because that moves him up into 5th. top three have all opened up gaps on each other. So the fight right now seems to be for fourth. Zola knows that he's better off when it comes to time penalties, but Zola does have to worry about potentially Shmi or Snake pushing him too aggressive and causing him to have incidents. No one really seems to be in a position to make overtake. I don't think anyone's confident enough with their car setups to actually make passes during the wet unless they're just way faster down the straight, which Waldo might try to do on Neon here for fourth. Contact! Neon falls all the way to 7th position now. But now both Haas drivers 3rd and 4th. It's the last lap. Does Waldo have what it takes to close in on Matrix and try to get back by him? No, I don't think so, because he slides out there in turn 1. Now Harry wants to get that position. Harry gets a time penalty and all of that. Oh! Well, that promotes Mr. Neon up into 5th, although Hal Franz looks like he's going to get that position now. But at the front, Lone Retreat coming onto the back straightaway for the last time. And looks like he's going to walk off. So a good tire strategy makes a good track position. Lets him hang out in podium positions all day long. And when push comes to shove, the Lone Retreat setting himself up for a victory in the Williams. Ooh, Shmi, accident coming onto the back straightaway. Out of the final corner is Lone Retreat. He will come across the line first. Second will be Matrix. Third will be Waldo. Fourth will be Edgar. Fifth will be Franz. Then it will be followed afterwards by Torpedo in 6th. Kelly will get 7th. Mr. Neon 8th. Harry 9th. Zola 10th. And Snake, Fizzy, and Shmi will all finish out of the points paying positions. But a great job by the Lone Retreat to wrap up the win. No, starting on mediums. He started on mediums. Everyone, yeah. Everyone else in the top 10. Hopefully he'll be willing to jump in and talk with us here. And yes, that is it. So here comes the Lone Retreat. Celebrating, obviously, on the podium. But go ahead, the Retreat, include your audio. Fantastic victory, which started all the way back in Q2 with a great strategy win to tire use. Walk us through your day from your perspective. All right, outstanding job. The only Williams driver in today's field, and you come home first with a great victory. I just want to say outstanding job. Do you replicate this at Russia in a week? Okay. All right. Well, excellent job. Shame that we're not going to see you next week, but great job with that victory, mate. All right. Well, that will pretty much wrap up our broadcast here. Although, before we leave, I do want to say the Haas team is going to walk out here second and third. If they've not already locked up the Manufacturers' Championship, I think they'll have it pretty much locked up by default next week. So with that in mind, I think there's going to be a fight between Matrix and Waldo to the end. But with the way Matrix has really turned up the weight in the last 3 weeks, I think he's going to be the championship favorite. All right. Yeah. I don't believe in curses. Although I have had a few scenarios that have made me wonder. I definitely do not believe in curses. But anyways, that will be the end of the X2 broadcast here. I've been your host, Insane Layer 13. I've been joined by XRL Jigsaw. We'll see you guys next week on the Saturday and Sunday races. Until then, farewell and goodbye.